How to get your slab level or to a required gradient. Well, the problem with chairs for scaffold tubes is that they don't go in between all the rebars all the time. Chairs won't go through spacing less than their size, they won't go through where the mesh overlaps, and neither will chairs go through where the top mat isn't exactly over the bottom mat, so they won't usually go where you want them. And you get the concrete finished before you take the scaffold tubes out, because someone must walk through the finished concrete to the far end to cut the tying wire, and then walk back through the finished concrete again to carry the scaffold tube out, which by this time has got both ends filled with concrete, so they risk a back injury. These are quite serious issues. Going over the concrete again and again and expecting a man to lift 35 kilograms as he struggles through concrete, standing on reinforcing steel, full of holes, waiting to trip him up. A laser level is only okay if the team works together expertly, or the team can cheat by tying scaffold tubes down to the mesh. But both these alternatives result in puddles. Your client won't be impressed by puddles, and the workers don't like walking through water as they continue to build. We have been building domestic basements since 2004. Our new solution is to make use of our threaded fiberglass rods and fiberglass nuts. Fiberglass in concrete is waterproof and won't ever rust or rot. The rods can be drilled in and fixed with resin so that the tops are top of concrete, and the nuts give you a fine tune to get the screed rails dead right. You only need to find the space for a long drill bit between the rebar, therefore you can put these rods anywhere that a chair won't go. Using short lengths of 2x2 and 40mm nails means that the nails can be resined into slots and the 2x2 yanked out from the edge of the finished concrete. The 2x2 void can be filled after the slab goes stiff, and everything left behind will be buried and hidden. Basement slabs usually have a sump. You can almost as easily set the rods to create a shallow fall to a sump as set them level. If you do, the job will always drain and there won't be any puddles. Later, the client will save by not having a gully round the edge, by not needing a wasted screed, and he will get more headroom as a result. The subcontractor can save money and the client can get more space. The process. Drill holes about 2 meters apart in lines across the slab. If you can drill right through the blinding, you can often tap the rods down so the tops are top of concrete. Otherwise, cut a bit off the bottom of the rod first as required, and you can fix the rods in the hole with a little squirt of resin. Screw a thin nut onto each rod, measure between the rods and cut 2x2 a few millimeters shorter. Tap in a 40mm nail one end at the bottom and the other end in the middle, and fit the rod first where the pour will start, with the lower nail at the edge of the slab. Continue across the slab, then continue each line, and wind up the thin nut so that the top of rail is top of concrete. You can see that it is the thin nut that is taking the weight of the rail. The nails just keep them located. When you have the rails in place, you can squirt a little bit of resin into the slot so that the nails get glued in and the thin nut can't turn. As you concrete and finish the surface with your screed bar, you can yank out the 2x2 from the edge of the concrete thus far, bending the nail and leaving it behind. Then you can pull the far end of the 2x2 off the nail at the far end and carry the wood away easily, without treading on any finished concrete. Finally, mix up some sharp sand and cement and fill the voids left by the 2x2 after the slab can be walked on and before it gets dirty. So, no mess, no fuss, no injuries, much more accurate, no work done twice, client happy, everyone impressed there aren't any puddles, and cheaper.